Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Jianu, Pakhera, Ghaleni, Hao, Chuna, Shume, Washmale. Oh, hi, Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen, and hi, hugs and hellos to everybody who is tuned into PT World and are watching World this morning alongside Shazad Khan and Maha Makhdoom. And I forgot Khush Ahmadeen. So, Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Maha? Your jacket looks lovely.
Thank you so much. Every time I wear this jacket, you really like it. But assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm very good today, Shazad. I am happy about the show, and
Yeah.
I think colors really affect someone's
But you know
mood.
what you did? Because yesterday we
Yes.
had a fashion designer on the show and she said that blacks are in, yellows are in, and reds are in. So
And
I
I'm wearing
think
all
it
of those
was kind
colors.
of in your subconscious. So today when you open up your clothes and you were like, oh, what should I wear? So you thought about the yellow one and then the black one.
Absolutely, that probably did play a part in it. But also, I realized, I also did it according to the type of show we had today. So,
Oh.
you have to dress to the occasion.
Oh, wow, that's great. I think that's what you need to do.
Yes.
That's what I did as well because I didn't have anything so bright. So what I did was whatever I have, I'm gonna wear. I wanted to look formal. That's what
Sometimes,
it is.
yeah, sometimes it gets really desperate.
I think
Right?
I think people are getting excited about what we're going to talk about today, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen. But before we do that, you always know that we start our show with our topmost headlines of the hour.
Exactly.
But I don't want to say it like that. But because earlier in my life, I used to be a news anchor as well, so I can
Yes.
pretty much pull it off.
I think you should pass me a newspaper
Yeah,
because I realized I don't have my newspaper.
Oh my God.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
But you know, women always have like headlines without even a newspaper.
Okay.
Well, sorry, I'm sorry
that's
for
not
that.
gender biased at all, but
Oh,
never mind.
It was just a joke.
I know.
Come on.
But okay, so let's start with our news because we
Yeah,
have a lot to
let's
talk about
get
today.
started then.
Okay, so the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has directed everyone to complete all development projects in Gwadar at the earliest and said Gwadar port will change the destiny of the people of Balochistan.
Wow, I think that's great, and such a statement was even required, and then all of the efforts are actually being made to probably synergize all the provinces within Pakistan.
That's wonderful.
I think this is what we always wanted to do, and that's what it is. And moving on, the second headline is, I think, directly linked with the headline you actually read out,
it
and
is.
this one's the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif says development in Balochistan is priority of federal government, as is evident from projects initiated during last 3 months.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And now, the sporting news. I'm going to do the sports today.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's come back.
Let's just come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
All right.
sporting news, Pakistan Cricket Board has announced a one-day international and a T20 squads for the upcoming tour to the West Indies. Sarfaraz Ahmed will be the captain of both squads. So for all the cricketing fans out there, this is exciting times.
It is quite a lot of exciting time, though.
So that's wonderful.
Amazing, I think.
So the international board has announced the
Pakistan is a cricketing
One day-
nation, anyways.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I think it's about time that we move on towards our public service message. What is that, Ma? Did you thought of a good one?
I did think of a good one,
All
and
right.
I've totally forgotten what we decided.
Oh my God.
But no, Shazad did
Yeah.
hygiene yesterday,
Yeah.
and so today we're talking about exercise.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the weather's changing. There's a lot of dust, there's a lot of allergies that are happening, and people are suffering from it. So, if you are going to do exercise, put on a face mask, and also try to do it in an environment where you're not going to have trouble breathing. But do make sure you continue your exercise because otherwise, it's that weather where you become lethargic and lazy and. I mean, I'm struggling to move these days.
I mean, the only thing which I would love to reiterate about over here is that, this is when you exercise is when you feel your freedom. And that you get to do whatever you want to do because you go outside, you probably go out for a run or for a walk, and then you breathe in fresh air and you can do whatever you feel like.
Yeah.
God forbid if you weren't even living in an independent country. Imagine that you might not even be allowed to leave your homes or places, and that's when you realize how important independence is.
Absolutely, and that's such a wonderful way to put
Thank
it.
you.
And that's the thing, every country, people and the citizens need to enjoy their freedoms. They need to have their basics like security, food, shelter. And within Pakistan, we're working towards that. We're working towards making sure that everyone has got access to resources. But what we like to do is that we like to learn from other countries and we like to build relationships with them.
And we will love to learn from other cultures as well. And then most of the time, whenever we talk about Europe as well, and then this region of the continent, I think we do have quite a lot of similarities because of the fact that we do have, those colonies which were actually initially were built by the British as well. But then other than that, just because of those similarities, it's not that. Now, what I want to reiterate over here once again, that is that, when you get to see people from, a different sect or a different race or a different ethnicity, that's when you grow. And then when you are in sync or when you synergize with those people, that's when you become a member of the global market. I think that's how you
Community.
yeah, that's how it is, or probably the community or the market as well in terms, because what we're going to talk about today makes me happy because first of all they are completing their 20 years over here within Pakistan. Their consulate is they have completed it, and then they were even celebrating their Independence Day, which was yesterday. Well, we got confused about it
Because
Yeah.
basically, because there's a restoration of state which
Yeah.
happened after the First World War, and then there's a restoration of independence that also happened. So we're going to learn a lot
Yeah.
today. So you guys have to have your brain switched on. And Shahzad is going to start the introductions
Yeah,
today.
and the country we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, before we give it away, let me just put out all the figures
Please
which
do.
I had to go through. So their population is approximately 2.9 million, and then their GDP is 14 point something dollars, and then their life expectancy at the time of birth is probably 74%. So it's quite a developed country, even though it's a very small country within the Europe. And I think there's
Yeah.
Poland on one side, and then there's Finland. I'm not very sure
So I
about
think
that.
we should just
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was all the hard work and I had to do last
So we
night.
can- yeah, so we
I
can
just
talk
don't
about
want
the
it to go in
questions.
vain. Yeah, we will talk about that. And then, Maha, the most interesting part over here is that I got confused that on February 16th, they have an
Yeah,
restoration
of
day.
state.
Of State Day.
Yes.
And then on March 11th,
Yes.
they have a restoration of an Independence
Yes,
Day.
yes.
So I didn't really knew when to
Okay.
be happy, or probably just be happy. That's
Okay,
it.
so let's introduce the guest,
Yeah.
and then we will learn all these things.
So, ladies
let's
and
start.
gentlemen, on my right-hand side, Ambassador of the Republic of Lithuania to the Republic of Turkey, to Islamic Republic of Iran, to Islamic Republic of Pakistan, His Excellency Audrey S. Bruzka. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Good morning, labas rytas, which is in Lithuanian.
Okay,
Right.
excellent. Thank-
Labas Oritia. I think I'm going to learn this
Oh
now.
gosh,
Perfect.
he's added another one to his introduction. It's going to be even longer now. Okay, and besides His Excellency, we've been joined by Christina Babiciene, and the Second Secretary of the Embassy of the Republic of Lithuania. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is the problem. I got the name right, and then I panicked on air. I'm so sorry.
Like a very simple name.
Babiciene. Okay, and besides Christina, we have been joined by Masood M. Khan. He is Honorable Consul General to the Consulate of the Republic of Lithuania. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
And he's
so
already
much.
been on the show as well.
Yeah, nice seeing you both.
Same here.
You look very charming.
Oh, thank you so much. So I
Thank
want
you
to get the
very much.
conversation started with you,
Let's do it.
sir. So tell us, you got a complicated history. You got multiple dates. So tell us about it.
Well, indeed, it's very complicated. You were right. Actually, we have 3 national days, and we're rich in that case. Now, why? Because, as you were rightly saying, the history of Lithuania is complicated. We had a troubled history some time ago, and that's why now we celebrate 3 national days. But let me explain. The first time we lost independence was in the 18th century, actually late 18th century. In 1795, the then Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was partitioned by Russia, Prussia, and Austria. So that's the first time.
Okay.
Then we were under the Tsarist rule for 123 years.
Okay.
And then, after the Second World War, in 1918, on the 16th of February, we declared independence. We created the modern Republic of Lithuania. So that's why it's the independence was restored, because we still owe actually the history to those earlier times. But then the Soviets came in 1940. We lost independence again. Then the Nazi Germany came, and then the Soviets came back again.
Oh gosh.
So the most recent independence that we claimed back, it was in 1990, on
Okay.
March 11th. So that's what we celebrated yesterday at the residence of our honorary consul general here, and that's what we really want to emphasize today. Yes, it's the history was complicated, but at least now there's something to celebrate. 3 national days, it's not a bad thing at all.
No, no, absolutely. And
So just
multiple-
be happy, right?
And also 3 national holidays as well. I don't think anyone's going to
Exactly.
complain
And
about
then there's a New Year right around the corner as well. And then there's an Easter as well. So it's like 5-6 holidays in a row. Wow.
Wonderful. Okay, now that's a little bit about the history of Lithuania, and you're also celebrating the 20 years of the council being in Pakistan. How does it feel celebrating those 2 things within Pakistan this year for you?
Great. it was just great. Yesterday we had a party, wonderful reception, and indeed it was a time, an opportunity for me to officially thank Mr. Masood Khan for his service, 20 years that he's in service. And we have been absolutely happy and delighted to have him over. Well, he's our man in Pakistan. We don't have an embassy proper here, but our interests are looked after Masood Khan, and he's been exercising this office in an impeccable manner. So
Wonderful.
yesterday we thanked him, we celebrated, and I think that. Masood can carry on, I mean, for years on end. That's what we really want him to do.
I
Okay,
think
wonderful.
that's why I would love to move on to Masood Sahib over here, because you've been earlier over here. Your energy is amazing. You know, it's enthusiastic. It's overwhelming at times when you start speaking. So how do you feel? You know, so you've been going on for 20 years. It might be a rough ride at times as well, because of the fact that, you know, Pakistan as a country has been through turmoils as well, and then
Yeah.
now finally we see that, you know, we are moving towards a brighter future. So how was it for you?
Well, actually, it's a pleasant journey to start start representing a small country in big Pakistan at that time, 20 years ago. The pleasant part what we have done yesterday on our celebration is that 20 years ago, Wasim Sajjad was an acting president. He put the flag of Lithuania in Islamabad.
Okay.
20 years ago. And 20 years later, he was there yesterday to celebrate with us
wonderful.
the 20 years of then. And we are honored by the Governor of Punjab. I must thank him. He came all the way from Lahore to join us for the reception last night. And we have a very pleasant evening. Coming back to the relation between Pakistan and Lithuania, Lithuania is a small country, as you have come up with the figures. And I like to emphasize a couple of things more which impress me more.
Sure.
I was involved with the Lithuanian aviation industry in the beginning and just after their independence in early 90s. Because at that time I was living in Copenhagen, and it was just across the Baltic Sea, and the 3 Baltic states was, you know, open up. They got the independence, so we have gone there. So I was involved in the development of the Lithuanian airline at that time. And then we fall in love, and they said, you become our consul in Pakistan, and I was honored. And I feel it is my second home. But telling you about little bit about Lithuania is that with this small population, you know, they have done a tremendous achievement in this 27 years of their independence. Literacy is almost 100%.
99.8%. Wow.
100%.
Yeah.
Lithuania has the highest number of graduates in whole Europe, and probably the highest number of PhD in whole Europe. They are scientifically very developed countries, scientifically.
Okay.
You know, they are, with 3 million people or 2.8 million people, their export is almost over $40 billion.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
so you can see that the country has gone like that in 27 years.
Amazing.
Amazing. And I think there is a lot for Pakistan to learn from a country like that.
Yeah,
That's
that's for the
wonderful.
second half of the show.
Yeah, okay, great. So let me ask Christina, you know, we're learning so much about Lithuania. It's a wonderful country. How important is it to keep the ties with Pakistan as strong economically, culturally, politically?
Of course, it's not very easy because we are far away from each other, but distance shouldn't be an obstacle for our relations. And of course, we should actually establish more people-to-people contacts.
Okay.
So it's our aim to promote people-to-people contacts, starting from business people and maybe from students after. So
Okay.
it would be the way.
Okay, and in regards, because you know you're the second secretary and you're also
Yes.
part of the economics. So in regards to businesses, in regards to all of that area, how is the trade? Is there something that can be built upon? Is there something that Pakistan can learn, and vice versa?
Yeah, of course, every country can learn from every country. So And Lithuanian, actually, our trade turnover is not bad at all. It's almost 300 million like euros,
Okay.
and we are importing mostly textile materials. And
Great.
we also have Pakistan has honorary consul in Lithuania too,
Great.
so it's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
No, it is
Excellent.
indeed, and you know, just because you mentioned about textile, I think Pakistanis are very crazy about textile industry as
Yes.
well, and it plays a very pivotal role within our own industry. But let's just move on to you, Your Excellency. Now, over here, what Ma's trying to figure out is that in what terms and in what ways or what mediums do you think we can use to bring the two countries together? Because obviously there can be cultural exchange programs, there can, we can be politically connected, but other than that, there needs to be some economic development amongst the two of the countries. So let's see, what is your idea about it?
Yeah. Because a lot of people out there don't know what's going on. So tell us about that as well.
Well, definitely. Trade economy matters, but then you have to travel. You have to travel to believe for yourself.
Okay.
And sometimes it's difficult to persuade the people to just go there. You know, there's a nice country. The people are nice, and the business opportunities. Go and explore for yourself. Because before, unless you do so, well, you may be hesitating to really venture beyond the traditional area of yourself. So that's one thing that this embassy will try to do, to encourage our people to travel to Pakistan, to see it for themselves, to talk to their business partners. We will help them. We will help them to get in touch with the right people, with the right companies. That's our job. We have identified a few areas of cooperation, and as our consul said, Lithuania excels in education, in research. So I think that is something that we should also aim at. First and foremost, at the value-added products, at knowledge-based economy. Let's put our researchers, scientists together and create something new, something for the future, for tomorrow. We have been also traditionally an agricultural country. We also have built a fairly sustainable and good industrial base. But even that is not good enough. It's good enough for today, not necessarily for tomorrow. You have to build something new. That's why Lithuania invested heavily in the information society. We have really built really high capacity internet connection. So now you may be interested to know that Lithuania, I think, is #1 in the world with Wi-Fi access in the public areas, the fastest Wi-Fi in the public areas.
Amazing.
And we are, I think, #2 or something by penetration of fiber optics in the countryside. So the government really extends fiber optics to not necessarily in the cities, but in the countryside, so that those living further away from the main cities, they can get onto internet and do something on the internet.
It's in everyone's reach.
Exactly. And why? Because that creates tomorrow's economy, a knowledge-based economy. That's how you are interconnected at home, but also with your partners abroad. And that's what might bring Lithuania and Pakistan together.
Wonderful. That's from the Lithuanian side. You know, you said you've highlighted. Sorry, did you?
Yeah. There's one more thing which I wanted to ask, and that is that what are those major exports of Lithuania on which Lithuania's economy is truly dependent? So that because when you start talking about your exports, I think we'll figure out a way that this is what we need to do too.
Well, it is quite diverse.
Because you're an agriculture-based country as well.
Exactly. Yes. Traditionally, Lithuania has always been an agricultural country, and up to actually the 60s, 70s. But then when we developed this Soviet-based economy, which was big, heavy, inefficient, producing for the on big scale. But that proved to be inefficient. So it had to be restructured, scrapped, and reinvented again. So now it's on a much more smaller scale, more efficient. We employ the really high-end and up-to-date technology so that we are competitive, we can export. And that tells 60% of our exports go to the European Union, which means actually that we are competitive. We can sell on that highly competitive market. What do we sell? Well, first and foremost, of course, it's engineering and mechanical production. We sell oil refinery products. We have an oil refinery in our country. Chemical industry. Then, of course, the new technology, high tech, biotech. Then we have furniture. We have wood processing industry, very strong and very capable, actually. Certainly, well, agricultural products are still there, but I mean their percentage in GDP, of course, is smaller than that. But it employs quite a few people. We are very good in logistics and transportation. Why Lithuania is important, I think, it is partly because of its geography. Because we sit in that part of the world where many crossroads, east and west, north and south, and we have well interconnect railroads, those highways, air connections. We have a seaport. So when you talk here about connecting Pakistan to Turkey, it's a grand project. Well, we think maybe it could be extended also to the Baltic countries, and from there
it's just the first
Western
step.
countries.
Yeah.
That's the first step. So you think big. You have to think big how to really position yourself globally. You have to put different pieces into one bigger jigsaw
That's what
puzzle.
I said initially.
That's
to be a member of the global community. That's what it is. But
That's amazing. But before, I would like to ask Mr. Masood the question. Now, as His Excellency has pointed out, it's been 27 years, of independence. Pakistan is also, now this year we'll be celebrating its 70 years of independence. Lithuania's gone through it's had its wars. It's been, has multiple restoration dates and independence days as a result of its tumultuous history. So there's a lot of similarities between the two countries, yet, one has managed to kind of overcome a lot of hurdles much quicker than, Pakistan itself. Being Pakistani, representing both sides, seeing both sides, how does it feel for you to be part of it? And what do you think we can start picking up now and learning in regards to the economic factors side
Actually, there's a lot of similarity. Basically, Lithuania was an agro-based country.
Exactly.
Almost 30% of their land is forest. Green
Amazing.
forest. It's such a green country. I don't know exact figure, but
just want to get
over
lost over there.
3,000, more than 3,000 are lakes.
Amazing.
Wow.
We should get some photos up
Clean.
as well.
Yeah.
Exact figure you will get it, but I think Excellency might correct me, but it is more than 30,000 lakes. Clean water.
30,000 lakes?
Blue.
With no people
No,
to
sorry.
take a bath in?
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
About 3,000, but
3,000.
the bigger and smaller tiny ones. But
Even
it's
if it's
really
3,000.
very blue. Very blue.
Very
It's blue water, beautiful. Basically, in the beginning of the country, I used to live in Denmark. And Denmark was exporting once in 90s a lot of dry milk to Pakistan army.
Right.
And then after some time, I found out that Denmark is not so much producing so much milk as they are exporting.
Right.
Later on, we found out that they were importing from Lithuania because they are big marketing country in the name of the milk and butter. So they were importing it from Lithuania and then re-exporting it to the world.
Okay.
Because you know how it is. But today, in this 27 years, Lithuania has changed.
Yes.
They have not done only the value added, they have done the scientific value added.
Okay.
Lithuania is one of the leading country in the world for biotechnology. They are one of the leading country in the world in laser technology.
Oh, my God.
They are one of the leading country in as Ambassador said, in IT and Wi-Fi. The whole country is open for Wi-Fi. You can put your laptop anywhere on the street and start doing the
So
work.
there has been a transformation from being an agro-based economy to
To
very
the
technological
value
based,
added and then to the high tech
Okay.
scientific value added.
Okay,
Yeah, I do
wonderful.
want to build up on this.
Okay, so we have got some photos in our back screen there. So,
Yeah.
so this is Lithuania. But Your Excellency, let me ask you this question as well. So, it's very similar, as Mr. Masood has also pointed out, agro-based. Now you've managed to move on to, you've kept up with the technology and the movements. So in regards to the relationship between Pakistan and Lithuania, it's even stronger because of the similarities. Going forward now, let's talk about the cultural aspect of it as well.
Let's
So
talk about the customs as well.
yeah, so that's what I was moving on to. So, you know, we've got the similarities, we're learning from it, we're working on the business aspect, that's fantastic. But tell us a little bit about the culture. Like, what is the culture like in Lithuania?
And before you start speaking about it, you know, there's one more thing which I want to share,
Yes.
which is I think that it is exactly similar with all those people over here in Pakistan as well. So I was reading how they actually get married. So, you know, probably they say, first of all, you have to, you know, young people, because they get married within their 20s or probably, you know, when they're about to reach their 30s. And then what happens is that they have to, you know, obviously look out for their accommodation and stuff and whatnot. So initially when they got married, they would prefer living in as well with their parents. So whether they can see that, you know, whether they can finance or not or whatnot. So I think it was very similar over here within Pakistan, because this is what happens. Our parents get us married, and then we are married just because of the fact that our parents are alive, alhamdulillah, and they can finance
Okay.
us.
Well,
That's what it is. Yeah.
okay, so we've got some landmark shots.
Yeah.
Shahzade's trying to move on to the cultural aspect, but
Yeah.
we thought we would share
And this
some
is how beautiful Lithuania
images.
is, people. And these are the few, oh,
Oh,
Yeah, and here are
you
some
can
of the
see
lakes that
these
we
lakes,
discussed.
you know, they are so
Beautiful.
beautiful.
amazing.
Okay, great.
But
So
I think we
let's-
can.
let's move on
we
to
can
the
still
cultural aspect.
Talk about it.
Well, about the marriage.
He's very Pakistani, like he wants to talk about marriage
I am
first.
Pakistani,
Okay,
right?
okay. I don't know. Well, right now, I think we're at a modern society.
All right.
Modern society, of course, I mean, everybody wants to be chic and modern and contemporary, and the younger generation, they want to flee their homes, I mean, as soon as they can do that. So I think the younger generation want to live separately from their parents whenever they can afford and do that. They actually they take education. Education, I think, is a must, is a prerequisite. I mean, it's a standard. That's why we have, I think, the highest number of graduates in Europe. And then they want to live separately. But they also venture. They're risk takers. So they take credits from banks. Some time ago, it was fairly easy to take credit. Now it's a little bit more controlled, and they buy their properties and try live on their own. But still, family is important. In Lithuania, family is important. We have old traditions. Say, for those holidays, and of course, we are a Catholic country, traditionally. A Catholic country, so you come together for family events, for Christmas, for the Easter. We have still retaining all the customs, like for Christmas. You sit down on the Christmas Eve. There's special meals. You don't have to eat meat or milk. You fast. You fast and then there's also magic involved. You have to put a straw under the table and see if it's a long straw. Okay, the girl will get married this year. It's a strong straw. Oh, bad luck! I mean, you have to wait again. Well, it's funny now. Of course, it's devoid of any meaning or religious meaning. But they still carry on because it's
So
fun.
what if somebody pulls out a straw at the age of 8? Do they still get married?
No, the parents will just brush this away.
Okay, so let's bring Christina into the
Brush this
conversation.
away, yeah.
So that's a little bit about the culture. I just, before we move on to getting more into the cultural aspect, I just wanted to touch upon this, the education, the fact that the literacy rate is so high, the fact that, you know, the youngsters do they have the desire to become independent, to step away from, you know, their parents' shadow type situation. What is it that drives the youth of Lithuania to be such high achievers and to make sure that they, you know, achieve their education and they do something?
I think it's natural for us.
Okay.
I don't see any, like, you know, why it is. It's
Oh,
like
really?
just
Okay.
natural, because it's obligation to finish middle school.
Right.
You
Okay.
cannot. You should go to school. Every child should go.
Yep.
So, and of course, there are some social schemes. For example, for poor families, children, they are getting food in school, so it attracts children to school too.
Okay.
In this way. So I think, but mostly it's natural, because you should, and every family just seeks education.
Yeah, and if you have
for
already got a literacy rate of 99.8%, it's not about must or should or
I think the
have.
pressure
Yeah,
that
It's
you
like,
have
it's
to.
like you just
have to do.
you know, because what happens is, for example, if you live within such a family where there's like 2 PhD doctors, one MBBS doctor, they'll be like, son, you got to study, or the son or the daughter might already be feeling,
No, but
look at
that's-
my grandfather, look at my father.
I know,
So
but
I'll
that's what I'm
probably have to
trying
go to school.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, is that how do we, you know, how do you get to that stage where it's so natural to, because, you know, there has been a lot of ups and downs
And
within
it's just
your history.
27 years of independence
Exactly.
as well.
So I'll ask Your Excellency this. So why don't you tell us about this? Like, it's natural, but you guys have had the hurdles. I mean, 27 years is not that long. That's within a lot of people's lifetime as well. So how have you kept focused?
Well, it's the please understand. Well, the survivors of the fittest. You have to compete. You have to compete in a very competitive world. We're small. We're very few. So you have to be double as smart and active in order to get attention.
Okay.
To be successful and to really promote yourself, your own family. It's very tough out there, and the neighborhood is also not necessarily always very friendly. You know, we have the big neighbor next door, and we have to be sure that actually what we do it in the right way and with the future possibilities in mind. That's why from the very beginning, after regaining independence, we said we want to be a part of something bigger, of European Union, of NATO. Now we also will be acceding to the OECD, which is another club of affluent, prosperous, and democratic nations, which gives you even another dimension of the way you can excel. So you cannot lag behind. You have to catch up with the developments, and that's why education is a must. Then you have to seek employment. You have to invest in yourself in order to be able to produce some good for your own family and for your own culture. So there's no wasting of time.
Okay,
There's no wasting of
And
time.
then other than that, what are the prerequisites of being a member of OECD as well? I think that's something which Lithuania is focusing on right now.
Indeed. It's not that easy. You have to actually, there's some benchmarks you have to go through, and even for a member of the European Union, we still have to perform. We still have to reform certain areas, be it competition laws and competition, and say there's a social aspect of it, the management of the public companies, state-owned companies. There are many things that still we have to reform, even though we qualify for the European Union. But OECD is even higher standards. But this is actually really the crème de la crème, where the countries come together and where they share the information and they also plan ahead. And in many instances, actually, their reports, their assessments, and their forecasts matter for the outside world as well. So that's why it's important to be in the very center of the decision making and the forecasting for the future.
Okay, that's wonderful. And it's wonderful to have, you know, Lithuania within Pakistan. And, you know, 20 years, it's a really solid friendship.
There's
and,
one last thing I